Welcome to Marketing, Media, and Money, your go-to podcast for proven profitable strategies, secrets, and resources from industry experts and global influencers to help you scale your business, shorten your learning curve, and stand out in a crowded, noisy marketplace. Here's your host, award-winning marketing and media strategist and international speaker, Patty Farmer.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Marketing, Media, and Money podcast. And I am so excited today because we're not just going to have one expert, we're going to have two. And it's going to take both of them to really deep dive into the topic that we are going to talk about today. So I have a question. What if you could automate your content creation, design irresistible high-ticket offers, and scale your services without adding more to your team's workload? Today, we're going to dive into some revolutionary AI-powered tools designed to streamline your business, drive revenue, and free up your time to focus on what you do best. And from crafting high-converting sales copy to building a seamless client experience, you're going to discover how these tools and strategies for using them turn AI into your ultimate growth ally. So I want to introduce you to my guests. I want you to meet Lauren and Lauren, affectionately known as the Laurens, the dynamic duo behind the Clarity Playbooks and the AI Sales Accelerator, a revolutionary set of AI-powered tools designed to transform your business. So let me tell you, Lauren Shaw is a serial entrepreneur and high-ticket coaching expert with 16 plus years of experience. She knows the ins and outs of building profitable, fulfilling businesses. While Lauren Capwell, an aerospace engineer and AI strategist with a background in building and launching rockets, so yes, she's a rocket scientist, brings a unique perspective and a passion for leveraging cutting-edge technology to drive business growth. And together, they've combined their expertise to create a suite of tools that empower entrepreneurs to gain unparalleled clarity on their ideal clients, their marketing messaging, and strategies for sales success. So thank you guys for being here with me today. I'm so excited.
Thank you for having us, Patty.
I'm so excited because, boy, this has been time waiting so patiently for me to share you with my audience. And I'm so excited to have you both here today with me because, as you know, I love the tools, use the tools and scream them from the rooftops to everybody who will listen about how powerful they are. But I really love that I got you guys to come on here so we could really break it down and really share with my audience exactly how this could be literally a game changer in their business. So let's just jump right in. And so I feel like for some people, AI can feel overwhelming, right? Especially with all the hype that's surrounding it. So what would you say are some of the myths about AI, right? And how do you help business owners see AI for what it really is? Who wants to go first? Should I say Lauren S. and Lauren C.? Go ahead and go first, Lauren S.
Yeah, or Lauren, go ahead. Yeah. So I would say, there's this myth out there that AI could be a magic bullet, and it's not, right? It's important in order not to be overwhelmed, to come and approach AI with some sort of framework that you can follow, like a strategy, just like anything in business, right? And this is the reason why we go to coaches and we go to experts so we can figure out what that strategy is and see past our blind spots that we might have in whatever area. So I would say, in order to really eliminate that overwhelm, it is important to find somebody that can support you and guide you in understanding how to leverage this technology in your business. And that's why we got into it in the first place, because we knew that there was going to be a need for entrepreneurs to kind of get from where they are now to that point of integrating AI in a strategic way in their business that really is going to make an impact for them. And that's why we love what we do, because we get to be that bridge for people.
That's awesome. Lauren C., you want to add to that?
Yeah, about how to implement AI without being overwhelmed. I would say start with a simple task. So it could be as simple as having AI give its feedback about a marketing message that you've written, or having AI act as your ideal client and just having a conversation with it. But really, I think that when people feel overwhelmed, it's because what they say most often is, I just don't even know what it can do. And so learning about the different things that it can do, how it can help us with content or help us with marketing, like those things can be really helpful to know up front because that helps better shape the questions that we can ask it to get good output from AI and really have it help in our business.
Which I think is so important because input equals output, right? I mean, even before we had AI, it was always like ask better questions and you'll get better answers. So that has always been around. But now with AI, really input equals output. And that is really so very important. So I have to tell you, before we dive into all the things we should be doing or want to be doing, right? Let's talk about what we shouldn't be doing. Right. I always feel like it's just as important to know what not to do as it is to know what to do. So what would you say are some of the like common mistakes that entrepreneurs make when they adopt AI, and how can they actually avoid those pitfalls to get the most out of technology? So this time we'll start with you, Lauren C.
Yeah, I think that some of the mistakes that people make is they want it to specifically just clone themselves. And that eliminates all of this greater intelligence that AI has in order to help us. So one of the things that people don't think to do when they're just starting out is to have AI ask them for more information. Like, I'm trying to write this email sequence. Ask me 5 questions to get the information you need from me in order to help me with this. Right? So I think that's a really big mistake, is just like focusing on trying to force the machine to do exactly what we want it to do rather than letting it be there like another employee or another person on our team in order to help us.
I think that's really true too. I know that for me, I created a prompt and a scoring model for myself and my own content on what I would consider a 10 out of 10. This is what I would consider if it covered all these things. I would consider that a 10 out of 10. And then I literally started feeding it my content and asking it to grade me. And it was so funny because it would say, oh, it's an 8 or a 8.5 is kind of what I seemed to be getting. And then I just asked it, based on what I said would be a 10 out of 10, what am I missing, or what value could I add, or what gaps or opportunities are there that would make it a 10 out of 10? And it was amazing the things it would come back with, or sometimes it would ask me questions in order to be able to do it. But now that I have done that, now my content is a 10 out of 10 based on my criteria. And of course, I'm always constantly changing the criteria. But I feel like, it does give you an opportunity to really train it to be what we want it to be, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you think for business owners who sometimes feel intimidated by tech in general, right? And specifically AI, what would you say the best way for them to start integrating AI into their strategy without feeling that overwhelmed?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we've supported a lot of people on that journey of, having, whether they're, they just don't feel like they're really tech savvy, or they don't know where AI can fit into their business. But one of the things that we tell people is like, it's okay to go in and explore, and AI is not going to get mad at you if you ask the wrong question or you mess up. So there's no pressure on you. And one thing that seems to be a really great icebreaker for our clients that we've done with them is we tell them just to go in and start having a conversation with AI as if it were a human. And they could even talk to AI as if it were their like ideal client. And they just to have a conversation to start exploring to see like, oh, okay, we can talk to it like a human and start to see and ask it questions and actually have AI ask you questions to get clearer, right, and information so you can kind of start to explore the boundaries of how AI works. So that's kind of a fun exercise. It ends up being one of our clients' favorite things to do. And it's a way just to not feel so much stress and pressure around having to figure out all of the more challenging ways to use AI in your business.
I think that makes sense though, really, because I know that for me, while I love everything about technology and everything about AI, when I very first started dipping my toe in, I was a little bit fearful, right? I was like, oh my goodness, but I wasn't fearful of it. I didn't want it to train it improperly, right? And then, oh my goodness, all my outputs after that would be terrible because I had trained it wrong, right? So I think that was what it was for me. But after working with you guys and partnering with you guys, I realized, and I got my Brave on, and now it's like my best friend. So
it's so funny that you say that, Patty, because that is something we hear all the time from people, that there's a fear around giving it inputs that aren't perfect. And like the beautiful thing about AI is like it's not going anywhere, right? Like we can continue to have a conversation with it. We can improve it. We can retrain it. And so, yeah, that's an interesting thing that's come up like over, I would say, the last like 6 months that we've been noticing from people is like they're almost afraid to give it wrong inputs. But really, that's why we're here, to help you realize like you can just run it again. You can just run the tool again. Nothing's going to happen. It's not going to bite.
Yeah. And to further add to that point, like one thing that we really encourage our clients to do is just experiment, like try to break it, try to give it instructions that are so complicated that it can't handle it, because that's where you really figure out where the limits are. And it's never going to get mad at you, and it's never going to say anything mean to you. And I think that we're so conditioned in the way that we've, gone through school, and you get grades. And if you get an A, you're a good student. And if you get score lower, you're a bad student. And that's just not the case with AI, right? It's just a matter of experimenting and testing and learning. And some of the advice that I heard really early on about AI that I really internalized was they said, just practice it the way that you practice playing an instrument, where you just experiment and you can get intuitive. And I think that's one of the really cool things about AI is it works with natural human language. So you can speak to it in a really intuitive way. And so you learn to start to listen to that voice in your head and kind of like what your gut is saying, ooh, it needs to do this, or I want to ask it that. And you just kind of experiment and see what happens. And that's where some of our best discoveries in terms of like prompting or strategies with AI have really come from, was just from experimentation.
It's true.
Yeah, I think that kind of takes the fear out too, because if you're thinking of it as experimenting and you're not thinking of it, oh goodness, I'm locked into this, I think that can take the fear away. And then the more people do it, the more they realize, oh, well, this really wasn't that tough, right? Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs, we begin with the do-it-yourself methods, right? So when they're wanting to transition over to like AI enhanced strategies, right? What do you think would help them to make that transition smoother? And what should they prioritize first to see a real difference?
Well, there's 3 inputs that we tell people that are really like the 3 foundational inputs that you need to tell AI. It's who you are. So that could be as simple as just your job title, who you help, and that's a description of your ideal client. And then what your specialty is. That's like what you do and the results you get for your clients. And so if you tell it who you are, who you help, and what you do, those 3 pieces of information are really the foundation for getting really great, highly targeted output from AI. And I think that like that's where we start a lot of our clients off, because it's pretty easy to answer those 3 questions. And then you start getting great output right away. And that builds a lot of confidence really fast. And that's the easiest place to start, is having it, brainstorm email sequences, social media copy. And what you'll find after that point typically is what's usually missing is an overarching strategy. And so if you're working with a marketing expert, like that's a really great place for them to come help you with the bigger vision and strategy for your business. If that makes sense.
Oh, it totally does. That's what I am finding all the time when people talk to me. It's like, okay, good. Like I did this. Now what? Now what? Right. Which of course is why you and we all work together. Right. So let's kind of focus on that. Let's kind of talk about the tools. Right. So speaking about clarity and those foundational questions, let's just jump right in. So can you give us an overview of the Clarity playbooks and the AI Sales Accelerator, and kind of share how these tools empower entrepreneurs to grow their business? Like, I know it's kind of an overview, but I really think that these tools that you guys have created, and there's a whole suite of them, but the reality is getting the clarity, like that word keeps coming up over and over and over, which even when I was listening to those 3 questions, I'm sure that some of my listening audience is like, oh yeah, if I could just get clear on that, right? Because sometimes when they're not getting what they want, a lot of it is because they're not clear, right? Stop being clever and be clear. Because clear works. So,
Yeah, I'll speak to that. And I guess the whole, like the birthplace of the Clarity playbooks really stemmed from my background in online sales and marketing. And I actually worked for 2 8-figure business coaches doing sales for them for about 5 years. And I had probably over 2,000 sales conversations with entrepreneurs in all different industries from all over the world. And I started to see these patterns emerge. And there were very, very common challenges that fell in just a few categories that most entrepreneurs tend to have. And when Lauren and I got into AI, we started exploring, like, how can we leverage AI to solve these most common challenges that entrepreneurs have? And some of these challenges are getting really clear on their most profitable niche, or understanding their ideal clients in a really deep way so they can communicate effectively in their marketing messaging, or understand what could be going wrong inside of their sales process and sales strategy, right? That's keeping them from getting to where they want to be financially. So we devised a framework that really encompasses all of these aspects of a business. And then we developed AI strategies and turned them into automated tools to make it really easy for entrepreneurs to use them. So how our tools work is you just answer a few questions about your business and or yourself, and all of our automations and AI prompts are running in the background. And within usually about 15 minutes, you'll get an email with a completely personalized report delivered to your inbox, right? So we have a report that goes into your most profitable niche. We have one that does market research for you and helping you identify industry trends and where there's opportunities for you in your market. We have another one that goes deep into the mind of your ideal client, understanding their pain points and their desired results and the tipping point on their journey when they're most likely to invest on your services. We have another one that's an offer playbook that actually completely enhances or writes a scalable offer for your business in a way that it lists out all of the modules and your sales page copy and your bonuses. And these things used to take months or even years to really accomplish. And now we can do all of the heavy lifting with the help of AI in a matter of one sitting, right? So then you're not staring at a blank page. You've got these intelligent insights from AI, and then you can come in with your own human expertise and refine them, right? So that's the premise of the playbooks and how they work. And then our AI Sales Accelerator is actually a 6-month coaching container with us, where you get access to all of these playbooks and these tools to use in your business, along with the guidance and mentorship from us about now how to make sure that you're being held accountable and actually taking action on these things for your business to start seeing results.
Now that makes a lot of sense. Lauren C., you want to add to that?
Yeah. I think Lauren pretty much covered it, but yeah, just to make clear, it's a suite of AI tools, and you answer a few simple questions and you get, all of your scalable course curriculum, your sales page copy, deep into the mind of your ideal client in minutes, which, like Lauren was saying, is incredible. And then we offer that inside of a coaching program. So it's live coaching that goes along with that.
Yeah. Tools, they focus on helping businesses gain clarity on their ideal clients. How can AI assist entrepreneurs in identifying and understanding their target audience more effectively than traditional methods? So obviously asking these questions and having all of this work for us can get it to us faster, like you said, saving us months. But how can it be more effective than traditional methods?
Oh, I love this question because it's so AI is so fast at this. Remember those 3 inputs I was saying, the what you do, who you help, the results that you get? You can give that to AI and ask it to help you identify your most profitable niche, or help you brainstorm the most profitable angle for you to look at for this niche. Then you can ask AI to act as your ideal client and do a complete market research interview with AI. And the cool thing is that AI does not have shame or embarrassment. And so it will answer any question you give it. And Lauren and I actually did this the manual way, where for the first 6 months of our business, we were deep in market research. We were getting on live Zoom calls one-on-one with potential clients and doing market research interviews. And we interviewed, I think it was around 100 entrepreneurs. And then it was later we discovered we could have done this with AI and gotten the exact same answers in an hour. Yeah, because when you're talking to AI, what's really cool is it's like talking to the voice of the public. And people get such clarity. This is one of the exercises we have our clients do actually, is the ideal client interview, because AI will speak with such clarity and just get straight to the point. And it will not try to hide any information from you because it might feel ashamed and embarrassed about its tech skills or about, whatever it is. Like we all have those things, like we're all human. And so you can get these really deep insights and deep answers. And the other thing is that, when you're doing live market research interviews, the person on the other end of the phone is going to get tired. You're limited by time and how many questions you can ask. But AI is never going to get tired. It's never going to tell you to stop or to quit digging at this question. So it's a really powerful tool to get a lot of clarity really quickly. Yeah.
I thought of it from that point of view, but you're right. I mean, sometimes I can go really deep and keep asking and keep asking and keep asking. So I think that is really good. And it's once they get that clarity, we all know that content creation, right, is a major time investment for entrepreneurs. So, how can AI help automate that process, but still maintain the quality? And what tools besides yours or strategies do you recommend?
Well, I would say, one of the ways that we can actually really speed up the process around content creation is to create custom GPTs, right? And really creating almost like little AI employees for different aspects of our business. And so what's important though, is you have to make sure that you're priming this AI bot, right, with the proper information about your business so that it can get really aligned output for you with the least amount of revisions and needing to take place from your end. And so one of the things that we do is we create these documents that have all of the inputs about our brand voice or our ideal client, like what we've been talking about this whole time, like really understanding who we are, how we serve people, the outcomes that we help them achieve, so that it has that information and can weave it into any of the copy or output that it's creating for you. And so a couple of GPTs you could have are, designed to help you write email sequences or to write LinkedIn posts or any type of, social media content creation. Patty, you don't know this yet, but we actually just created our content playbook. That's probably going to blow your mind because we've been working to solve this for ourselves as well. And it's like most of the things that we birth come from our own necessity and desire to create them for ourselves and for our own business. So, Laura, you want to add anything?
Yeah, I wanted to throw in there because this is a question that we get asked a lot is what is a custom GPT? And the way you can think of it is it's like a customized version of ChatGPT that is already loaded with very specific instructions about what you want it to do. So, and they're usually for a specific use case. So you are a custom GPT and your job is to write email sequences. And then you can attach a document to that GPT that's always there that includes your brand voice, your mission and values, the pain points and desired results of your ideal client, their full customer profile, all of these details, right? So every time you go and you use this custom GPT, rather than starting with ChatGPT, which is kind of like a blank slate every time you start, you're starting a conversation with a ChatGPT that is fully educated about your business and the job that you want it to do. And these are really great for those really repetitive tasks like writing emails or creating content. GPTs are great for those types of repetitive tasks. So yeah.
I always like to say, if you have an SOP, you can have a custom GPT to do it. So yes. Yeah, actually, one of the things that I love is having my VAs that work for me, create the SOP so that we can create the custom GPT, right? Because they're the ones that are doing the task. And if you really think about it, how many things do we do as entrepreneurs in our business that we do over and over again? I mean, it could be from onboarding new clients, exiting clients even, right? Like all the processes of the things that we do over and over again. I think until AI came out and I really got into this space, I used to not really realize how much of a process that I had, right? It was like, oh, I didn't really realize it, but we do, even though we may customize our services, right? There is a process. And so I think that is one of the things that I think is really, really good with doing this, and your tools make it just so much easier, right? Because it's just the thinking through the things. And I really love being able to ask it to ask me questions, right? It's always been really good. And even when I create them, it's even asking it, well, what else would you need to know? And what else would you need to know, right? So I really love that. But what would you say is, there's always this concern with AI, right? About balancing automation with human connection. So how do you recommend that businesses use AI for automation, but still maintain genuine connections with their clients?
Good.
You want to answer?
You can, if you want.
So it's
We'll both answer. Yeah, so it's pretty much the same balance with, automation tools like automated email sequences, like those have been around with us for a while. And it's the same rule of thumb with AI as it is for that. Wherever having something automated is what's going to add the most value to the customer, whether that's creating value add email sequences, value add posts, things like that, go ahead and use AI. But the moment that there needs to be a personal touch, and having that personal touch with the client would add a lot of value, then be there as the human and show up as the human for the personal touch, right? Whether that's like communicating with them directly through email or, whatever that is for your business.
I think that makes a lot of sense, because I think sometimes people don't realize they've been using automated things before we started talking about AI. I mean, I know that when I'm thinking about going to a restaurant and I want to know if they're still open, and so I ask, either, I don't want to mention her name because she'll start talking, or even if I just go in on and ask, having somebody come back, which I know is a bot, and say, we're open until this time. I kind of like that rather than driving all the way there and then finding out I could have just found that out faster. So we've been using a lot of them. We just didn't realize that now we have a name, right? Now we have a name for it. And so I think that we've been using them for a long time, and we've been having a lot of automation in things that we do. And just like everything else, we crave that human connection, but sometimes we just want an answer. Now, how many times do, like now more than ever, you call somebody, they're like, oh, leave a message and we'll get back to you in an hour. And sometimes it's 2 or 3. And your question is so simple that if they just would have had a bot, I would have got my answer right now. And I would have been much more happy with that business to have provided that answer for me. And that is customer service at its best, right? So sometimes you do need to speak to a human. Sometimes you just need to give them the answer they need so they can move forward. So Lauren S., I know you wanted to kind of talk about that too.
Well, I think this is actually like one of the great opportunities that AI presents us with, because we can now take a step back and take a look at the repetitive, time-consuming, almost like numbing tasks that we tend to do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And we can now understand like there's a tool available to us that can help us automate as much of that as possible so that we can free up our time for more of the tasks that drive us, that fuel us, that are like focused around human connection. So instead of, writing emails or creating content for 10 hours a week, maybe now we only, work on that 2 hours a week, and we have 8 hours freed up to deepen our connections with our clients or our audience, or get out there in the world and actually go to an event to meet people in person. So I see this huge opportunity to leverage AI in order to deepen human connection and to live more fulfilling lives and to have more fulfilling businesses. So that really excites me.
No, that excites me too. I love that. So let's talk about high ticket. right? So when people are creating high ticket offers, the standard has been in the world, right? Especially in the coaching world for a long time now, that the more high ticket is the more time that you spend with that coach or entrepreneur, consultant, whatever the case may be, right? The more time they get with you personally, the higher the price because it's a premium, right? But now, how can AI really support that, right? So if you do have high ticket services, how can AI support more of a streamlined client experience right from the beginning? So from lead generation all the way to closing the deal, so to speak, right? That ensures like a seamless process without having to add on extra team or extra staffing. Because, we all have our customer journey, right? And so, there's a generalized one that people talk about all the time, but depending upon what you do, you probably have your own, right? We all have our own, ideal client journey. So really, I want my clients' experience to be a phenomenal experience, right? And I do offer high ticket services, right? So how can AI really streamline that and still make my customers' experience phenomenal all the way from lead gen, all the way through seamlessly?
Can I speak to that? Because there's okay, I'll start us off here. Something that we've been seeing, in like the high ticket online coaching world is that, a lot of coaches have had to create like a one size fits all approach so that they could scale their business, right? There was this desire to really want to scale high ticket offers. And because of that, having a one size fits all approach allows you to help more people. However, most people, when they're investing large amounts of money, they want things customized and tailored to them. They want somebody to understand their unique challenges. And now with AI, we have this incredible opportunity to create really hyper personalized results very quickly. So now with like high ticket coaches and marketing experts, we can leverage these tools to get deep insights that are really like the kind of like the onboarding, understanding of these new clients so that then we don't have to spend a lot of time doing all of that groundwork. We can get right to the meat of like why we're really seeking support, right? To grow, to excel in different areas of our business. So these tools, like we have this incredible opportunity now to leverage them in the beginning process to get deep insights and deep clarity so that we can achieve better results faster, right? With these like higher ticket support coaches or agents that we're working with.
I think that's so true because I feel like for myself, a lot of times when you're working with someone and they're in a very specific niche, I know as a marketing expert, sometimes in the beginning, we have to do what I like to call heavy lifting, right? There's things that we have to do, heavy lifting, in order to get them the best results. So one of the reasons why I love the tools is because it actually helps me to get that information that I need. So say, for example, somebody's in a 6-month program with me and the result that we're looking to get is XYZ. I have a lot more time to focus on helping them to monetize the program that they actually hired me for by getting that information that I need very quickly and those insights and what the gaps are and the opportunities. So to utilize the tool in a way that then what people actually are hiring me for, right, which is to help them to monetize those and to leverage it, getting that information right away where usually I would have to spend time manually doing all those things first. Now, however, I get to spend that time helping them to get the results that they actually hired me for and how to monetize that. So the fact is, we have always hired people to help us shorten our learning curve. What I am finding now with the tools, that it also helps me to shorten the onboarding in the beginning, which actually allows us then to expand on the amount of time that we get to spend in the results and the monetization. And for me, I think that's gold.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And what I would add to that, so I think that those are some of the ways that AI can help when we have existing clients. But when we're in the lead gen phase of our business, one of the things that Lauren and I have found is that AI can help us not only create really tailored content, but we do a lot of speaking presentations. And so it allows us to be very responsive to the group that we're speaking to by creating outlines for topics that we can talk about. So we can go in and do really custom tailored presentations for the specific groups that we're speaking to and making sure we're providing a lot of value. Yeah.
I think that's really, really important too. I mean, I know as a professional speaker, I mean, a lot of times we spend a lot of time in creating that presentation. And if you're a speaker who's been around for a little while, we know how important it is to customize every one of them to the audience that we are speaking to in order for it to be the most effective. So again, knowing who that is and having clarity. I mean, I feel like this whole thing keeps coming back to that same word, clarity, 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 right? Which obviously is why it's called clarity playbooks, but really getting clear on all of those different things, which is kind of why I love the way the playbooks kind of build on each other, right? And again, as an expert, whether somebody is doing it themselves or whether they're hiring someone else, input equals output. And even the input getting the output of the books, then you actually have to leverage the books and what are you going to do there? So I think that I know that when I was talking to people about it in the very beginning, when we started working together, a lot of coaches were really worried that this was going to replace them or that people wouldn't need to hire them. And why would they want something that would do that? Which I think is very scarcity minded, right? But again, it's because they're fearful because they don't know. But in reality, I think it does the exact opposite in reality, right? Because now for the first time, they could have this clarity, but not just of who their ideal client is, but they have this clarity that helps them to know how to serve in the most strategic way and where there may be gaps and opportunities that they're not providing to their clients, right? So this is a really great opportunity. And while that does give us that clarity, which is so important, you're still going to need somebody to work with that's going to help you take it from that to where it is that you want to go, but it's going to get you there much, much faster and give you the clarity that maybe there are so many more ways you could be serving them. Like there could be some more next steps that maybe you hadn't thought of before. So I think that can really help you not just get them more results faster, but actually can give you the opportunity to be able to help them in more ways, which not just the things that they hired you for in the beginning, but ways that you can continue to work with them, which is just a better experience for them and a better experience for you as well as the coach or expert.
Yep.
Yep. I agree.
So I think that is, so I know that a lot of coaches and consultants and service-based entrepreneurs are listening, which is kind of why I wanted to make sure that I'm really clear there. So this is really only going to help them. And I think also it helps you get clear. Are you really serving the people that you actually want to serve? Like I know that, I've been working with you guys for months. And really, even for myself, who I'm very clear on who I serve, it did help me to realize that there was one thing that I was doing that I no longer want to do. So sometimes you get clear on what you do want to do, and sometimes you get clear on what you don't want to do. And that helped me to make changes because it's always about wanting to do what brings us joy and feeds our soul, right? So I think that who would have thought that AI could have done that? But again, I think that this suite of tools that you guys have created really can help you in so many more ways than people even think, and what opportunities that are really there for them. I mean, it'll even help them to know who they, really who should they hire? A lot of times people will hire people and then they're thinking to themselves, oh no, actually I jumped too soon. Before I hired them, I actually should have hired somebody who could help me with this or whatever. So it even can actually help you to get really clear on who you should hire, and then being able to be clear on giving them the information that they need in order to be able to serve you even better. So I think this service that you guys are doing in this tools helps people in so many ways that I think we might not even realize just how much it actually is going to be able to help them moving forward.
Yeah. And I'll share something about that. One of the things that our clients enjoy the most is the ability to actually test and experiment with different offers or different client avatars inside of the tools. So you can sit down and in 1 or 2 hours, you can run different scenarios for your business that, I mean, literally would have taken years to test out and like to actually watch it play out in the real world. So we have this really cool ability to leverage the tools in this way to experiment very fast with different ideas that we have in our business. And like you said, it's like one of the big things is you get clear on what you don't want to do. You get clear on like what doesn't feel good and aligned to, your zone of genius or your purpose in your business. And that's one of the things I think like we weave this like through line within all of the playbooks. Like they are designed to be standalone tools. You can use them on their own, but there is this really deep power that lies within using all of them in a row to achieve a deep level of clarity in all these different aspects of your business. Because when you have this through line of clarity and alignment in what you're doing, who you're approaching, how you're communicating, how you feel about, how you're communicating, everything in your business is going to run smoother. You're going to attract more of the right people who are aligned with your zone of genius. It's going to be easier to, enroll your ideal clients. And so that's really what we see as like that. That's why we call them the clarity playbooks. Like when you achieve clarity throughout your business and all of these different areas, it's going to help you, really rise and be able to make a bigger impact, reach more of the right people, and build a business that you truly love.
I think that makes sense. And one of the things that Lauren C. had shared earlier that I want to go back to is you always have the human connection. So even when you get the outputs, they're editable. It's not like it comes back and tells you this and you're like, oh, I didn't think I did that, or I didn't think I went, oh, I guess if it says I do, that's what I need to do. I mean, it's not that. Like we get to decide, right? We get to decide and say, oh, wow, this just became like 95% clear for me. But again, like you might not have told them enough information for it to get 100% clear, right? So you're like, oh, wow, maybe I should think about this right here and then run it again, right? It's not like just one time. Run it again. I mean, I think I've run mine, as you guys know, sometimes 4 or 5 times, right? And because also one of the things I do want to say that I love is we sometimes have more than one avatar, right? And so I think that is important as well. But I love being able to edit it, to make it be in my words, right? And so it does give you that great messaging, but still sometimes there's things that you say, which you may not have trained it. Like, there's phrases that you may say, there's things that you're known for. There's quotes that I'm known for a lot. Like, feeding it into those things really does help it. And I really love that part. So Lauren C., can you kind of talk a little bit about that? Because I thought when you shared that was so powerful. I remember being on a call with all of us in your community. And I remember I had always wondered why we got it in a Google Doc. And I was like, And now I understand why. And I think that is really important. So for anybody who might be thinking, oh, yeah, that's great, but what if it doesn't 100% get me? Am I locked in? So I really think that the ability to be able to edit it is super, super important here.
Yeah. And it actually brings me back to one of the earlier questions you were asking about one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they're first learning to use AI. And we forgot to say one of the biggest mistakes is not editing the output, just taking it as it is, or trying to make AI fix the output when it's just 1 or 2 words that's wrong. So you keep like reprompting it. But yeah, this goes back to always editing the output. Input, whatever the quality of the input is going to determine the initial quality of the output. What you were saying about including words, phrases, taglines that you actually use, when you include that in your input, it really helps to get better output. And when you get the output, it's really important to edit it, polish it, and take it and just make it your own.
I think that's really important.
Yeah.
So looking ahead, so let's look ahead, right? I mean, AI is changing every single day, sometimes every hour on the hour, it seems like. But every day I know I get an email about some new thing, which is exciting and can sometimes help you to go down a rabbit hole, which is the other thing that I love about the playbooks, because I think that I don't do that as much now. But where do you see AI taking the marketing and sales industry over the next few years, right? I mean, we all can't forecast because it's growing so fast, but with the things that you guys are doing. Where do you see that it is going to go over the next few years? And more importantly, what should businesses be doing now to stay ahead of the curve?
Yeah. You want to go ahead, Laura?
Yeah. So it is rumored that GPT-5 is going to be coming out in December. So GPT-5 is on its way out. So maybe it'll be December, maybe it won't. It's going to be much smarter than GPT-4 in terms of its ability to logic and reason and strategize. And so the trend that we're seeing is that AI is becoming more and more integrated with all of the tools that we're already using. So our projection is that more and more marketing is going to be done with at least the initial draft created by AI tools as they get better at writing and especially copywriting. And what I think that businesses should be doing now is taking the first steps to integrate it into their business. Start learning it, start using it, and follow the people who are in AI-powered sales and marketing, who are the ones who are following the trends, who have newsletters and can keep you updated. And so subscribe to them so that you don't have to be in the news every day following it, but you're just getting emails to your inbox about the latest updates for how it can help you in your sales and marketing.
I think that is really important. Also, one of the things that I've heard you talk about, see, is the differences between, ChatGPT versus Gemini versus Claude. And I think that is something really important, because I think that what happens is people know or recognize ChatGPT, so they tend to always go to ChatGPT when, even though it will get you the initial stuff. Like, I know that ChatGPT isn't the only ones that you guys use in your tools, but really learning which ones can be best and using more than one of them to see what's different. But you actually summed it up once in a call that I thought was really well done. And I think it's really important. So can you share it, please?
Yeah. So they each have their different default personalities and their default writing style. So ChatGPT's natural default is the academic. It'll use really big words, long, complex sentences, and it's really can be a little bit dry and technical sometimes. It's just in its default if you don't ask it for any brand voice or tone. Then there's Claude, and Claude tends to sound a lot more human. Claude tends to use simpler words, clearer languages. It tends to be a little bit more emotional. It's kind of like ChatGPT's cool friend. Like, that's Claude's personality. And then there is Gemini. And Gemini is the one that people I've noticed have used the least, but we use Gemini a lot. So Gemini naturally writes in very simple language. It tends to be kind of punchy, like a little bit of that kind of viral sounding content. But if you're looking for a one-liner or, results focused bullet point about your product, like Gemini tends to do the best job at just getting straight to the point. And it also sounds uniquely different from ChatGPT or Claude, because most people are so unfamiliar with Gemini, they also don't immediately recognize its output as, oh, that sounds like it was written by AI. So they each have their strengths and their weaknesses. We use ChatGPT for deep reasoning and strategizing. We use Claude when we want it to sound a little bit more maybe relaxed and emotional. And then we use Gemini when we're looking for more like sales copy, punchy, viral sort of content.
See, it's almost like they're people.
It's true. They've got personalities.
They absolutely do. So Lauren S., what do you see? What are you thinking? I mean, I know that you have this sales and marketing background, So from your point of view, what are you seeing that businesses should be doing to stay ahead? And if you were going to forecast and talk about trends, where do you see them going?
Yeah, I think about this a lot. And one of the big questions in my mind is how things will play out around transparency with AI in sales and marketing, because there are more AI sales bots that are coming out on the scenes. There's AI bots who are answering phone calls, and there are AI bots who are helping salespeople's live during sales conversations, giving them advice on what to say next or what to ask next. And so there really is this, this ethics question around sales and marketing. And I get really curious about how this is going to go. And, trust is at an all-time low already right now. So with the introduction of AI, how can marketers and how can salespeople ensure that they are creating that like deep connection in building trust, right? Like in the midst of us leveraging these tools and these bots to do some of our work for us. So I see, again, I see these types of challenges as just great opportunities for us to explore and to really focus on, creating that deeper connection and freeing up our time to do that, to lean more into the human side of what we're doing. So I don't have the answers, but I'm excited to see how it all plays out and excited to be on the forefront of it. And to be able to help others kind of navigate this as well. So that's what we show up and do every day. It's like, how can we?
I think that's important because you're right. Like nobody really does know the answer because I'm sure nobody realized it was going to do where we are right now. I think that is important. I do think transparency is important though. I know for myself, I write for Forbes and they literally had to sign something saying that we would not use AI to write. I publish a magazine myself. I also don't allow anybody to write their articles with AI. I mean, AI can, I'm like, it's great if you want to run it through after and, and have it enhance what you're doing, but it needs to be written by a human. And I know for me as a marketing expert, when I post educating content, that I always make sure that it says, that this article or whatever it is written by a human because I want people to know and stuff. So I think that, and to Lauren C's point, it is true, especially with ChatGPT. Sometimes you can see words or phrases and that was written with AI, but that doesn't mean it's bad, right? That doesn't necessarily mean it's a negative thing. It just means that we're so much more aware now, right? And we just need to be thinking about it. So I love that you guys have just really kind of spotlighted it, kind of shown the light really on where this can actually help people to grow their businesses. Because the fact of the matter is, if you're an entrepreneur and a business owner, the reason why you're doing that is because you want more time, right? You want more time. There's a reason why we started our businesses. And if this could help us to get the clarity we need that frees up our time so we can spend our time doing what it is that we want to do. I mean, how important is that, right? So I think that is really great. So I'm all excited about that. So I have to say, I love that you guys came bearing a gift because I'm sure everybody's going, oh my gosh, that all sounds really, really good. I would have no idea to start, but they don't have to worry about it because you're going to give them a place to start. So tell them a little bit about the Sales Insight tool.
Yeah, so it's one of our AI-powered automated tools, and you answer 3 simple questions, the ones that we've been talking about this whole hour. It's who you are, who you help, what you do. And in minutes, you get delivered to your inbox your basically customized Sales Insights playbook. So it includes the most profitable pain points that your clients would pay a premium to solve and the desired results that they really want. It tells you about their emotional motivations for buying, objections and false beliefs that they might have and ways to handle those in your sales process. And it also gives you ways to enhance your offer. And if you remember us talking about the ideal client interview, we actually give you in there the foundational prompt that you need in order to have AI act as your ideal client and do a market research interview. It's called the clarity statement. We use it all the time in our business, and it captures all those 3 things for AI. So you can do anything with it. You can do the ideal client interview. You can create website content, email sequences. Anyway, it's a really powerful tool, and it just takes a few minutes.
And I think that is amazing. So for those of you that are listening or watching, whichever it is, if you just look below, you will see the link that you can do to be able to get that at no cost for you. So they're being so generous, right? So Lauren and Lauren, you guys have been so generous sharing all this great content. But if you had to narrow it down to one marketing media money strategy, what would that strategy be?
So for us in our own business, the most impactful strategy that we've leveraged over the last year and a half since we've begun is actually tapping into other people's audiences to grow our reach, our revenue, and our impact. And so we love to provide free value-add workshops or trainings for mastermind groups, organizations, different communities. We come in, we just pour our hearts and our soul and give a ton of value. And because we do that, we build these beautiful connections. We build a lot of trust, and then we get people onto our list. And that's what we've done. We've focused really on growing relationships through leveraging other people's audiences. And it's worked very well for us. So
That is phenomenal. Thank you guys so much for being here. How can everybody, what's the easiest way for them to connect with you?
So you can find us at clarityplaybooks.com or shoot us an email, hi@clarityplaybooks. Also, all of our handles are at clarityplaybooks. So you can find us anywhere, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn.
That is awesome. So thank you guys for being here with me and for being so generous with your brilliance. I appreciate you both so very much. This has been fabulous.
Thank you, Patty. Always a pleasure.
And to my audience, thank you so much for tuning in again this week. I told you it was going to be impactful. Wasn't it 2 times the information? It was so wonderful. It was such a pleasure for me to share the Laurens with you. As I said earlier, they are my power partners and my go-to people for everything AI. And so I hope that you really enjoyed it. And if you enjoyed this episode, and I am sure you did, please like, subscribe, and review the podcast on your favorite listening platform. And if you haven't checked out our sister magazine, the Marketing Media Money Magazine, please go ahead and grab a free copy of that too at m3digitalmag.com. So m3digitalmag.com. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you again next week. Until then, have a phenomenal week.
Thank you for joining us today on the Marketing, Media, and Money podcast. To shorten your learning curve even more, make sure to grab your free copy of the Marketing, Media, and Money magazine at m3magazine.com. That's M3magazine.com. I promise your business will thank you.